Apologize. We are back. That means me and Newman. Come here, baby. Come here, dude. We're back in the studio, and I apologize. I wanted to hook us up to a proper sound system, and I find that I'm kind of curious why Instagram does not allow you to live stream through a desktop, and it's pretty limited what you can do through the phone. So I've got this equipment here that I'm using to set up a podcast, and I can't really use it all. So I'm a little frustrated. Come here, buddy. Say hi to Newman. Newman. Okay. Well, anyways, we're back. And so this is the sort of issue that I'm having. And it's not a serious issue, but it's like an issue. And I actually am not able to, I can't even plug you in to here. I'm missing all sorts of stuff. You know what I need? I need a producer for my life. I do. I need a producer for my life. Oh, there it is. The dog had it. Newman had it. So, anyways, maybe somebody can tell me maybe there is a way to live stream through Instagram on your desktop. I don't know why. I don't know really what the system is and why they would want to limit that precisely. But let's see if this works. And if you guys can't hear me, let me know. I'm plugging this in right now. If you guys can't hear me, let me know. Okay. Well, there I am. So if for some reason my sound goes out, I'm sure you guys will let me know. Nonetheless, I want to say hi to everybody. I haven't live streamed in a while, and I'm going to very soon. Hello from LA/Venezuela. You're in two places at once. Hello, Budapest, Hungary. Puerto Rico. He's a Puerto Rican producer. Wow. Let's see where everybody's from. Let's take a little trip around the world. Australia. Okay, here we go. Kansas City. Sweden. Excuse me. There we go. Jackson Hole, Belgium, Brugge, beautiful, Virginia, Texas, bonjour, Germany, Seattle, Idaho, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Long Island, Chesterfield, UK, Germany again. Okay. Apologies for that. That's my son calling. I hope it doesn't interrupt the thing. Nonetheless, okay, so what are the things I want to talk about real briefly? Well, first, I was going to tell you guys about an experience I had. I went to a dinner party. I think it was Sunday night? Yeah, it was Sunday night. So I went to a dinner party Sunday night, and I know most of the people there, and they're really great people. But we're sitting at the table, and we begin to discuss things like the virus and the vaccination and things like that. And it occurred to me that I actually am the only guy at the table that is not part of a subscriber to the big conspiracy theory. And I thought to myself, well, this is really weird. What in God's name is going on? I mean, these are people, one guy went to UCLA and everything else. And I thought to myself, this is a little bit disconcerting that so many people believe. Hey, wait, Newman, stop it. Get over here. I don't know what you're eating, but stop it, Newman. And it occurred to me that alternative information is now actually becoming mainstream. You know, there was a lot of complaint for a while about what mainstream media is. Well, guess what? Alternative fact media, I think, is mainstream media now. So these guys all believe that, they believe that there's a plot by the pharmaceutical companies, along with Bill Gates, to either poison people and reduce the population on Earth, and I can't even get into all the details. But so I decided that I'm not one to kind of walk away from these things. They bother me a little. So I started challenging a few people, and I asked them if they even knew what the vaccine was. And it turned out that these people didn't even know what mRNA and DNA, they didn't know that this was an mRNA vaccine, which I find really frightening, because an mRNA vaccine is completely different than regular vaccines. It's pretty revolutionary, and we have to understand these things in order to process information. And what was really going on here was that this one guy, who I know he's a conspiracy theorist, but he started telling me that mRNA is not a real thing. It's just a theory. And I said, no, it's not. It's a science. It's a scientific fact. There isn't. No, it's a theory. They're just feeding you theories. And I said, no, that's not a theory. It's an actual thing. Just like DNA and mRNA, they're actual real things. He did not even understand this, and I found it so disturbing. And I thought to myself, there's no excuse for a guy like you growing up in a super privileged part of the world who goes to UCLA and can sit here and actually not know basic scientific facts. And then he proceeded to tell me that there is no truth or reality, and that even statistics are not science. Now, that's a semantic thing, but it is true that statistics aren't science per se, but statistics are used to, come up with scientific findings. So nonetheless, it occurred to me that I am the only guy in about 15 people that am not afraid of the vaccine, that actually don't believe that there was a conspiracy by Bill Gates and the pharmaceuticals and Dr. Fauci to steal all our money and reduce the population. What the fuck? And I just decided that I'm sorry, but Newman is really bothering me. Newman, what are you chewing on? Come over here. Newman, get over here. Stop it, dude. You're stealing my show, homie. Yeah, I know. Come here, baby. Come here. You can be part of the show. Oh, baby. Now, what I was going to tell you was that this was a very long and protracted conversation I had, and it really ended in sort of a stalemate. And at one point, the guy, he tried to be really derogatory toward me and tell me that I obviously don't get my information from, that I get my information from a very narrow band of people. I thought that was really interesting. I don't think so. And so I couldn't possibly process this predicament of being the one person amongst privileged, educated people who actually don't believe in facts and data. Back to the same old thing. Everything is questionable. They really, and I asked them, well, what does Bill Gates have? What does Bill Gates get out of reducing the population? Isn't what he gets out of, doesn't he want to sell more software to more people? Wouldn't he benefit from like double the human population if that's the deal? Oh no, he owns X amount and needs pharmaceutical companies and so forth. Now, one particular guy is become well known, and he's on a reality show that actually they travel around the world looking for medicines and stuff, and he takes this homeopathic approach. Great guy, interesting guy. Trying to tell me that CDC is a strictly for-profit enterprise. That's just simply not true. Yes, there always is a profit element, but so is the post office. They have to pay for their services. I'm a little bit, it actually, they all have a very cynical view of the world. And that is, they apply the most Machiavellian intentions to everybody and everything they don't know. And they don't know much, so they apply it to everybody. That there's no possible good intentions by anyone, anywhere, anytime. And I thought to myself, what an incredibly cynical way of looking at things. And if you're questioning the vaccine, well, guess what? You're also questioning you're going to be in the same boat as the people that question the integrity of the election. So you may be on the left, but you're applying the same lack of critical thinking that a lot of people on the right are. No evidence. Lack of evidence does not mean you can apply anything you want, okay? And one person asked me, I remember, they said, prove to me that there was no election fraud. He wants me to prove a negative. Why don't I do this? Sorry. Why don't I do this? Why don't you prove to me that there are no extraterrestrial aliens on the planet? Fair enough. Prove to me a negative. You can't prove a negative. So, anyways, I've talked about this, and I just think this is a huge problem. This is a massive problem. I don't care. You can get rid of Trump. You can get rid of Biden. It doesn't even matter. If we actually don't apply any critical thinking skills to things, and we don't trust some basic sources, and unless you're a scientist yourself, we're not going to agree on any information. So, I'm going to bring somebody on. Hopefully it disagrees with me, but I just want to rewind the tape. I'm sitting at dinner. I'm having this debate with this guy who's telling me that there is no such thing as science. Okay, and the vaccine conspiracy and all that. And I said, that's interesting. So let me ask you a question. When you get on an airplane, are you saying that the engineers that built the airplane had totally different concepts of math and physics? And maybe, if you're lucky, they agreed on one to build an engine that's going to get you from point A to point B. You said that's theoretical. I go, it's not theoretical. It's not theoretical. When you get in your car and you turn it on, you're expecting the car to take you from here back to home. There's nothing theoretical about that. That's a science. There's a science. Science has redundancy. And this flummoxed them so much. And what occurred to me is that people that assign conspiracies and really Machiavellian intentions upon the corporate world, upon the rich and powerful, they're mistaking confluence with conspiracy and for-profit with something evil. Sometimes they can go hand in hand. For-profit can be good. I mean, it's a for-profit enterprise to get in a plane and fly. And guess what? It's a for-profit enterprise to make it safe because I will fly that airline more. And it's a for-profit thing that's a good car and it gets me from point A to point B also. For-profit does not necessarily imply that there's something evil going on. And so it's a little bit disturbing to me. So is anybody out there, let me ask you, anybody out there actually not going to get the vaccine, for example, or doesn't believe in the thing? Wait, here, let's see. We've got, in my case, on my interactions, vote would have gone 70-30 for Trump, but vote went for 30-70 Trump. Okay, well, so what? That's in. Okay, logic. Okay, let's get you on. Let's get you. Let's see if you can come on here. Let's try to get to the bottom of these things. I'm waiting. Takara 987. Go on. It's hard to get people on. It really is. Okay. Anyways, maybe she'll come on, maybe she won't. In the meantime, I just want to say we're flipping into the vaccine thing and the election aspect. She said that in her county, based on my interactions, the vote would have gone 70-30 Trump, but the vote instead went 30-70 Trump. Now, if I based my polling off my interactions in this part of the world, I would say that it would be 90-10 Biden. And it's not. But interactions are not a scientific poll. Interactions mean nothing. And as we've found out increasingly over time, that we are all hanging out with people who just agree with us all the goddamn time. We're in our own little bubbles. And not only that, it's proven where gerrymandering, and by the way, did you know gerrymandering is called gerrymandering? And nobody says that. So when you say gerrymandering, you sound really pretentious, like you know something nobody else knows. So I'm saying gerrymandering. But with gerrymandering, they used to split, they tried to split groups. So if you had a liberal stronghold in a certain part of the city, you split it. That way you reduce the power. But what they found that is increasingly difficult is that political affiliations don't even live near each other anymore. I mean, it's really interesting. You used to be able to split parts of a city up and you could split Republicans and Democrats. You can't do that anymore. The rural is red and the urban is blue. And they fight over the suburban exurban part of it, but the truth is that's mostly blue. So it's really interesting. What it shows is that we actually only live with people like us. We only hang out with people like us. We only talk about opinions that have opinions like us. We are all in these like comfortable little bubbles where nobody's going to really disagree with us. So, is that Rainbow? It says it's Rainbow. Rainbow! Here, let's call Rainbow. Let's see if we can go live with Rainbow. But, there he is.
Trump's still going to win, man. I'm still holding out. I'm really holding out. I think he can pull it off. We're just waiting on a couple more lawsuits to go through, man, and we're going to win. We're going to win, man.
130th lawsuit might come through.
I think he's at
40. You know
he's at 46 losses, I think.
You know that super creepy dude that looks like a pedophile named Stephen Miller?
Yeah, of course.
Stephen Miller said that he said yesterday on Fox News that alternative delegates are going to vote for Trump, and you'll see that he wins.
Oh, man. Once the alternative delegates, there's alternative everything.
Exactly. So I was thinking they could have an alternative country. I mean, why not?
And let him win. Let him rule it.
Yeah, maybe it'll be Greenland. Because he was looking at Greenland to buy. Maybe they just take Greenland.
Let it just be 1 hectare in Florida. He can have it.
There you go.
Give it to him.
Some swampland.
It's all his, yeah. Give him some garbage.
Oh, man. But, okay, so I'm going to ask you, Rainbow.
What's up?
Well, look I understand everybody's hesitation about vaccines, right?
I actually I'm hesitant of it.
Yeah,
all.
and
I don't like the idea of mass inoculation. I never have. The conspiracy theorist in me does not like Bill Gates being a part of things. I don't like a computer tech delving into vaccinations, having said all that he's said about population control. I don't like the math on that at all, but I don't believe that the world is conspiring with Bill Gates to fuck us all over. Though. But I also am not. I'm not an early adopter of anything. The iPhone was about the only thing I got version 1 of. I am a version 2.0 motherfucker.
Like, you're still a horse and carriage. You're still with the horse and carriage, right?
Very much so.
You're still the word is out on cars.
Very much so. I'm making a quilt for you right now, and I'm doing it by hand. I'm hand fucking hemming everything. You're
I'm
gonna
so
love it
tired,
though. It's
dude.
beautiful. It's gonna
I'm so
last
fucking
forever.
tired of your carrier pigeons. You
It's gonna
know,
last forever. I mean,
I
it
want to get
takes
you a
a
cell phone.
while.
You just text me. It'd be
It
so much
takes a while.
easier.
I'm on my mom's cell phone, my elderly mother's cell phone right now.
Right.
Um, I'm not an early adopter, so I am weary of the vaccine, I will say, but I'm only weary of things that are developed in such haste. The fact that it took 4,000 years to come up with anything that helps our autoimmune for people that have
Right.
HIV or AIDS, and now they can live with it is there is some proof in the legacy of pharmaceutical companies of creating things to subside temporarily for profit. There is a history of it. They don't cure things. They love to make you live with things. That's what you were saying, where things get
Well, okay.
mucky
So
with for profit. They're like we can give you something that you'll have to pay us forever for.
look, the Western approach to
There's a history
medicine.
of that.
The
There's a
Western
history of that
approach to medicine is definitely,
for profit.
dealing with sickness as opposed to preventing sickness. I understand all that, but
So
if you got a mom or a dad with pre-existing morbidities and all this stuff, and there's a vaccine, and you have to process, you now have a choice. You have to process information, and you have to make choices
yes,
because
you
she
do
runs a real risk. And
big time.
that to me is where, the rubber meets the road. It's not for you and me. Like, you're healthy, I'm healthy. We can wait. But
And I'm happy to, because I am a believer that our bodies and immune system, especially for something like this, which is almost a flu variable, that will have mutations and all that stuff. I believe that I had it in January in LA, I think, because I was laid out. We didn't know what it was, but I
when you
was
were
laid
sleeping
out
on my
coughing. Yeah,
couch,
yeah. You remember that? That was. But we had a lovely time together, and I haven't cuddled like that in months, brother. It's been a long time.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, you were really sick.
yeah, I was really, really sick. Like I was
Yeah,
laid out, and after I realized that my friend had just come through the airport, and visited me, and she came and got me fucking hella sick, and that was just
right.
it. So I kind of feel like I had it, and I think that for younger people or people that are a little bit more able-bodied, it would be great if we could test antibodies and stuff. I'm not a fan of, if you don't have this vaccination, you can't fly. If that is where it gets into the realm of, like, my conspiracy theorist comes in, where I'm
Well, let
like,
me ask
I
you
don't like
this.
people checking in on if I have it.
Right,
Where
right,
if
right,
I
right.
test negative, I should be able to do whatever the fuck I want. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
don't disagree with that. But let me ask
that's
you a
all.
question, though. What would you do if you're in charge and you have this vaccine and you're trying to get everything back to normal, and
That's
say,
exactly.
I'm an office manager and I want it to be safe for everybody here. Everybody, majority says they're going to vaccinate, and then there's a minority that says they won't vaccinate. How do
I I
I have
agree.
to say to them, well, you can't come to work unless you vaccinate, and I don't know
I
how to work that
I
one out.
I fucking agree completely. I'm lucky enough, and we are also lucky enough. I think that the people that work in the industry, the medical industry, are receiving it first. That's absolutely the right choice. They're dealing with it. Make them safe. Make people that have pre-existing conditions safe. And luckily, we'll be at the end of the line, which for me works because I don't want to get it right. I want to see. I'm one of those ones that's like, well, let me see what happens with these motherfuckers anyway. Like, you know. But I'm also
Well,
not subscribing to like memes where it's like everyone's got Bell's palsy now. I'm like, there's not, like, that would be on the fucking news. Like, I don't need to see that on like TikTok, and that's where I'm getting my news
cut
from now.
cut
Like,
to
it's
a
a
year from
fucking
now, and I'm live streaming with you, and I'm like,
yeah.
listen.
Yeah, and I'm
Um,
only acting on my left side and getting them to CG mirror me for full
okay, so
performance.
though, but I've been reading quite a bit about this. So, but this is what's interesting. This is a totally different type of vaccine that does not
Yeah.
inject the vaccine in you.
Oh,
It's kind
because
of
it goes in you, and then it's allowed to. They can change it as it goes.
well,
Yeah.
it's mRNA. So what it does is you have DNA, and DNA
You're about to
programs the
go into
mRNA.
you're about to go into my conspiracy theorist part where I don't like it, because there's also those conspiracy theories I've been hearing about so much, where they're
Yeah.
trying to, get us to mutate or get us to alter our DNA so they can own it and patent it, which is a weird thing, because That's what all those learn your biology, learn your
But
DNA. You're
but here
1/4 Irish, and they're just like, now we own your fucking DNA. I'm just like, oh, I don't
it's
like any of
kind of
that.
funny because though on the one hand, people say that, for example, Trump is a moron and this and that, and then on the
Well,
other
he
hand,
is. He is.
yes, but on the
It
other
has nothing
hand,
to
they
do with
say
him.
that he and his group are capable of incredible conspiracies, and I
Oh
think you
yeah.
can't have both. I think the
Well, I
truth,
think he's an absolute idiot. I think that
yeah.
any of that stuff is far above anyone that's in any presidency. Any of my conspiracy theorists are going at the reason that people that are in the true less than 1% wealth that control shit, or that's where that's why I was like Bill Gates. I'm like, why is this guy that makes microchips telling me he's gonna make some fucking
Well, it's kind of
vaccine?
interesting. So, I thought to myself,
Oh, hi, Hio
okay,
Pio. My niece is on. I'll stop
oh
swearing
yeah,
now
oh okay, good.
profusely. Hi, Hio. I
Um,
love you.
so I was thinking, if I was worth $100 billion, I basically have done everything. I'm kind of like, there's no real business things to conquer. And, I would have a ginormous ego and a lot of vanity. And I would say to myself, well, now that I've like on top of the perch, what I need to do is make sure people talk about me fondly after I'm dead.
I do love
Right. And
that.
then
I love that.
therefore, I'm going to try to do all these things that are perceived as saintly. And
But
guess what?
he hasn't done saintly stuff. He went into Africa and did some really dirty testing of stuff in Africa.
But
Bill
that's
Bill
actually
Gates
pretty.
did, and I know that's
The polio vaccines?
after
Is that what you're
that.
talking about?
I mean, after that. No, I'm saying Bill Gates did.
Yeah, well,
Did he
but
go
Bill
do
Gates
polio stuff?
funded a
Was
lot
that?
of polio vaccines, and then he also has been in the process of trying to, okay, this is why, even
You
though I
you
may not,
guys are sounding like two hubris guys. Talk to us who are on here. Answer our question. Oh,
uh,
okay. Well, it's hard. We're just
to
having a
hubris,
conversation.
guys.
I am reading slowly, but we have to have a conversation, and that's what we're doing here. But if you ask me a question, I'll answer it. How about it?
Yeah,
I
we'll
have
try to do that.
I have incredible hubris also. So don't.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
sounds like what it is. I'm not. I'm just.
Do you even read our shit or not? Okay, it's the same person. Well, we'll have to get them
Yeah.
on. Okay,
Yeah. We'll
so
get
Ava Sinatra,
Ava
we'll get you,
Sinatra.
Ava Sinatra.
Yeah.
Well, we are trying to have this discussion. Hopefully, it's a microcosm of a discussion we might have with some of the other people, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I was trying to say is that I actually think that the world is much sloppier and more improvisational than we think, and that the
I
capacity to
agree.
pull off these capers that are so well orchestrated, nobody's
I
going to
mean,
notice. I
I mean, I
just say
love,
to myself, no, 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 no. We can.
I
Well,
love
if
that
you look at the history,
The
yeah,
Trumpists literally think that there's a conspiracy internationally and nationally, from the tip top to the deepest depths,
yeah,
that every single person is against Trump, but he's the president. So everyone is working around him, just in orbit around him,
right.
to defeat him from the outside in. And the only people that can see it are fucking rednecks in Arkansas. They're the only ones that caught it. I love that. That's
I
like,
know, and
I
it's
know we're going on about Trump, but I'm just like, I have a sub account, like a little
yeah,
creeper account on
yeah.
Instagram, and I picked this like photo of just some dude that messaged me once. It's this like generic white dude, and I created this whole thing so I could infiltrate these like white fucking groups and all
Right.
these like All America
And
and all these groups. And I go in
it's
and they're all
fascinating.
private, and I go message as a pro-Trumpist, and I go like gung ho, and I see how far
These
they'll
colors
go.
won't bleed.
Yeah, I'm Blue Lives Matter. I'm All Lives Matter. I fucking, when they post pictures of black
Yeah,
people, I see how racist they are, and they're
yeah.
fucking crazy,
No,
dude.
it's well, but here's the thing. But here's the
Crazy,
thing. I think that everybody is
crazy.
extreme online because they don't have to come. They don't have to be culpable
Oh,
for
they're
what they
all.
say.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
you
They're
say
all
crazy shit.
keyboard thugs, all
Yeah.
of them. Yeah. But
And
I mean, just the fact that they have that in them, what I see there, that's what they think. It's not what they're willing to like do, but like that's if they had the numbers that they would want to. Like, oh, thank you, I was great, and Umbrella Academy, thanks.
um,
Um,
but
yeah,
basically,
Yeah, generic white dude.
With a vote recount, this is a classic because you can apply it to the virus or the vote recount. But the vote recount is like, yes, there's a massive conspiracy to manipulate the vote.
I love you, Cree.
But oh yeah, hey Cree. And then, but the only thing is that it just happened to be in the black neighborhoods. You know, the white votes were legit.
That's my yeah. Those...
You know, they're always up to something.
Always.
And so I love this. And then the other thing is like, oh yeah, this is a vast conspiracy, and maybe the world's the biggest failure of a conspiracy, which is we actually managed to keep Republicans in the Senate and control the Senate and lose more votes than candidates.
Oh, that's the best. Yeah. And
So,
if the conspiracy was going on, we would reelect some of the people that are like the biggest garbage people to the Dems. Like it's like.
I know.
Some of the people that got reelected in the Senate, you're like, oh yeah, that's who we would keep in there.
I'm trying, but here's the thing that's kind of sad though, because I'm trying to get people on that are Trump supporters on that have a different point of view.
Oh, I know. I love when you.
But a lot of
people.
times, like they're afraid to come on because, and I understand because we're pretty tough on people, and so I'm just like, it's really difficult. But it says a lot about our, lack of tolerance and all that shit. But I really want to get them on because I don't want to end up being like just around everybody who agrees with me all the time.
I love it.
Yeah.
I want people. I think that people. I think that I think you have to say less before you invite them. I think that you charge the argument and they realize what they're up against, and you scare them off. I think maybe you should just be like, pose the question. This is the discussion.
I think
bring them out, because you pile it on, and they're like, "Wait, he's smart. We thought he was just an actor." You know what I mean?
Like maybe he's not smart, but he's a jackass.
Either way. You gotta bait them.
All right.
Use the same tactics that the fucking.
Somebody just asked, "What is a generic white dude?" Well,
generic white dude. I'll show you the picture. He looks like he could be named Mark or Chris or Rob or Steve or Mike. You just don't know. He's just any white dude. I don't know. It's just he looks very plain. He looks like it's not against any. It just looks like any white dude. Yeah.
But I
stand by my statement.
Not scared. Wait, not scared when we spoke last time. You got to go with the discussion. Okay. Somebody's saying that.
Oh, someone's ready to go.
Well, I'm happy to do that. But listen, I honestly, and I keep going to this thing, I don't think we're ever going to have any common ground to work anything out unless we get back to a place where we actually say, okay, there are some facts. The sun rises in the east, it sets in the west. Like, reestablish facts, because everybody's like, hoo-hoo, that's your sun.
Unfortunately.
And who says what's east and what's west?
Trump instilled this thing called fake news that we really hadn't had questioned before, that the media was the media throughout history, and there's a whole, like, the journalistic approach of doing your due diligence to prove facts. That's one of the rules of being a journalist, and I know it's been skewed through the years.
Trump
but
is
I mean,
a symptom and not a cause, though.
He put a label. He put a label on it, and he
brought it to
made
the
it
next
so
level.
that and he made it so that, like,
had the AM talk radio crazies,
No doubt. I'm not saying that there was never both sides. I'm just saying that society had a realization that, like, facts are facts,
here we got somebody.
The fact that we have to fact check our president is a problem.
Makes me sick. Ignorance isn't actually bliss. Well, okay. It's important that the discussion be common. Somebody thinks that our discussion is pathetic. Okay. Well, I'll get you on. And listen, whoever
I'll fuck off, and you can talk to this person. Yeah.
No, I don't think they're going to come on. I don't think they're going to come on, but but Julia.
Okay, here, hold on. There's something here. News is biased left or right. Yes, but facts are facts. The truth is always the truth. It doesn't matter what side is saying it.
How we interpret
That's what we're talking about.
Another story, yeah.
But Matt, 1 + 1 = 2, and the fact that the president has to be fact checked is a problem. And the fact that those fact checks come out negative 90% of the fucking time is a bigger problem. And so I'm not talking about left or right. I'm not talking about political discussion when I'm talking about the portrayal of media by society right now. I'm talking about the fact that facts are facts, and it's a problem that now things that aren't facts are being spewed out like real news, and people are getting their news from meme pages. It's not a real fucking thing.
It's
And
so, but
people are calling CNN a joke and calling like viable news sources a joke constantly. And it's
well,
like,
well, the other thing, it's like mainstream media, right? Which implies that
it's
that's where
just
most people get
media.
their. Yeah, but Fox has like twice as high of ratings as CNN.
Oh,
So
yeah.
does that
Yeah.
make them mainstream media? I think
Yeah, they
maybe,
are.
right?
Of course they are.
I
Of
don't get it.
course they are. What does mainstream mean? Commercial
I don't
success.
know, but it's like
Commercial
that
success.
random shit that just. And I agree that some people on CNN are super biased. I agree with that, but you know, the truth is, I just I don't know. I mean, I think if you have any critical thinking skills, I don't think it's that difficult to peel the layers and see the hypocrisy on both sides. And I don't understand why we all have to invest on one side or the other. I don't understand why we have
I
to
don't.
pick a goddamn team. Like, this is my
I,
team, so
I
fuck you.
believe. I believe both.
Why can't we just,
Agreed. We've talked about this
you
many
know?
times. There's so
Yeah,
many things that
it's some evolutionary
fiscally sometimes
biology.
you want to be a
Yeah,
Republican, and then you
yeah.
know what I mean. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know.
So I'm going to try to get a Trump supporter on. How's Toronto, homie?
Toronto's good. We just got our shipment of vaccines, and they started inoculating people this yesterday. I believe the first person got a black lady. I think was the first
Yeah.
one, a nurse. Yeah. Oh no, that was in America. I think
Yeah, I think that
yeah.
was in
Anyway,
America.
it was a lady that got it
Because we
here
have
as
two
well.
black ladies in
I think she
America.
was
And
a
so I
Filipino
think it
lady.
was.
Yeah, you got two of them. You just got the second one though. We don't know her name yet.
Yeah.
And so everything's good. I just went on a walk with my mom, and it's cold here, so like the lockdown, we're on lockdown
Yeah.
level 3 or whatever now here, and it's cool. Like everything's fine. We're all dealing with it. It's all fine.
All right,
I don't
homie.
know. How are you holding up over there?
It's Groundhog's Day, dude. And what I'm
Yeah.
doing is I've been interviewing people for the podcast and packing it up, and I think I'm shooting for mid-January to launch it. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Here, talk to this lady. I'm registered Democrat who voted for Trump.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, but somebody has to pin or ask the question on the question part because I missed that. I don't see her.
Uh,
Uh,
Iram, the truth is out there. Oh, and then you have like
oh,
a
Iram,
conspiracy
the truth.
theorist name? Jesus, you're the layers of
All
you
right.
without even speaking to you
All
are
right,
amazing.
I'm gonna try to get her.
I
All right,
want to
bud.
believe. I want to believe. All right. I love you, brother. I'll talk to you
Love
later.
you, pal. Talk to you later.
Bye. Bye.
Okay.
Kick me off.
Okay. I'm gonna try. Okay, Iram, the truth is out there. Please join us. Please lead us to the truth. Because God knows I'm not going to be able to do anything like that. We're waiting for see what happens here. We're waiting. We're waiting. We're waiting. Understandably, people are nervous, but don't worry. Everything's going to be super respectful. Super respectful. It doesn't look like I'm going to get that person. Okay. Well, she declined. Okay. Listen, I think it says a lot that we can't get some Trump supporters on and not quite what we think it says, which is, oh, they're afraid to defend their opinion. No, I think it says a lot about our capacity to listen to other people and tolerate a different opinion and not, you know, personalize things and attack people. And, you know, I wish that we were all a little more open about this stuff because then I could get people on, you know, and I can't. And, you know, I understand that it's not much fun to go on the live on air with somebody who has a different opinion of you because it probably feels like I have more control. I have the platform. I have the following. And therefore you're coming in at a disadvantage. But I hope you don't think that. I think I would just, you know, come to me. Anyways, so I am probably going to try to get somebody on. I am a Trump voter, open to a discussion, was technical difficulty earlier. Okay, let's get you on. Okay, here we go. Takara 987. And there we go. Hey,
Oh, hi. Sorry.
hey, thanks for joining us. You have a really nice fan and a light bulb.
Yes.
Oh,
Sorry.
there we go. So,
I don't have a way to
hey,
hold
first
this
of
up.
all, this is what I got to say. Congratulations for having the courage to come on. A lot of people, it's not easy for them. I totally get it. And I was saying, I'm really serious about this. I feel like we have to learn how to have different opinions, maybe even like real serious disagreements, and not be personal about it, and not walk away disliking people. And I just don't feel like we have that. And that's one of the reasons why it's really hard to get people on.
Right. I
So,
understand.
but anyways, thank you for coming on. Where do
So
you
I
live?
was Michigan.
You're in Michigan. Okay. So you're a Trump supporter. My first question is this. Do you think the vote was legit?
No.
Okay. Why not?
I'm the one that posted the 70-30 comment.
Oh, okay. Great. So this is based on your interaction. Will you bend the camera down a tiny bit? Just a little bit.
This
Okay.
way?
There we go. Yeah, perfect.
I
So
don't have a way to hold it
you
up.
based on
Okay.
your interactions, it was 70-30 for Trump. Now, but that's pretty anecdotal. That's you walking around, right? That's you saying hi to friends. That's you running into friends at the grocery store.
That's
Oops.
me going to the store. That's me with people at work, which,
Okay.
I mean, I don't choose the people I work with. They
Right.
are, you know, they're random. So based upon,
What do you
when he
do, if you
won,
don't mind me asking?
I'm in accounting.
Okay. So, are you in the city? Are you in the country? Where are you?
I live in the probably more rural area.
Okay. So we know rural areas tend to be a little more conservative,
Hmm.
right? And you're saying
Right.
your county is predominantly rural?
Um, but it's Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Okay. Well, that's a big thing. So this is really interesting. What you're saying is accurate. You would traditionally have like 2/3 people supporting Trump that you probably run into in your part of the world, but then Grand Rapids outnumbers you. And it's going to
And
be primarily urban and Democrats. So then your county goes for Biden, and in your mind that surprises you, but demographically it's not a surprise.
true, that's has to be what it was because I mean, out of all the people I know and all of the rallies and just get-togethers and all the
Yeah.
posts of, everybody that I know on Facebook that are friends, and I've got friends on both sides, but majority of them seem to be Trump and not Biden.
Okay. So that's anecdotal. That's observational. We obviously know that. We all operate on that most of the time. But the truth is, when the numbers come in and they analyze the numbers, there are just a lot more Democrats in your county than Republicans because of a place like Grand Rapids. But why do you think it's somehow? Do you think there's voter fraud?
Well, I do know that I was on election night clicking through the counties and seeing, like what the number of votes were. And I came across Antrim County, which is now the big Dominion voting
Right.
fraud, to where when I clicked on that county, it was listed as blue and it had zero reporting. So all
Zero
the other
reporting at what time?
zero, it was like 1 o'clock in the morning. So it had zero
Okay.
votes counted. So I'm thinking it's just it's a small county. They haven't reported anything. Get up the next day, find post saying the electorate said, we figured out that there was a problem with our votes because we had like 10 votes for Biden and 3 votes for Trump. And the lady said, I had 6 people in my family that voted for Trump. So we
Okay,
knew
but
there
that's
was a
one
problem.
person saying that. See, this is the problem. You have these first person narratives, and I think I could find guys on the left saying one thing, you could find people on the right saying one thing, and they're just a personalized experience. Like, I was at a voting booth and I saw a lady throw a piece of mail in the trash, and I don't know what that mail is, and so we can come up with all this, but we have a system that's primarily paper. We have a paper. The foundation of our voting is a paper trail, and actually, this will probably end up being the most accurate vote in the history of the republic, because there's so much scrutiny on this thing. There's so much at stake that things have been counted, recounted, double counted, cross analyzed, the whole bit. I think it's going to be one of the most accurate votes ever. And a lot of people are going to disagree with that. But you also know that we already knew that Trump supporters were going to go into the voting booth and vote. And most Democrats said they are not. They're going to mail in because they were afraid of the virus. And it's shown that Republicans have been. So you hear people saying, wait, it doesn't make sense. Trump was up, like he was way up. And then we woke up in the morning and then he had lost his lead. Well, yeah, because you can't even show the mail-in ballots until after you count the ones of the people coming into the voting booth. So those are the first votes you count. So we knew what the process was going to be. Everybody knew it. In fact, it was remarkably predictable. It happened very, very close to the way it was predicted to happen. And that's why I'm just, where do you get your news?
I guess all over the place. I mean, occasionally I'll watch CNN, I'll watch Fox, I'll listen to what other people are saying. My brother's sending me things from Gateway Pundit, Judicial News. So I mean, kind of all over the board. So I mean, I flip on CNN every now and again just because I want to hear the other side. I want to hear what somebody else is saying that might contradict.
Have you thought about what it requires to actually fraud the system on a pretty massive scale? Like logistically, what it would take? Because I tried to think about this, and I was like, that would be pretty difficult, don't you think? I mean, it'd have to be a coordinated
with all the
effort.
hacking and programming, and I mean,
but again, we have a paper trail.
And if the paper trail says that is fact, then that's fact.
But I think it does. That's the thing. I mean, that's what, they had did they have a recount in Michigan, or was it just Georgia?
I think it's Georgia. They are.
Was it?
I heard that they are doing an audit in my county as of right now. I think looking at signatures and like voter rolls, I believe is what I saw something.
Okay.
I don't remember where I saw it.
But let's try to think this thing through. If we were going to fraud the system, we'd have to do it on a pretty massive scale, right? Because a couple of votes here and there isn't going to do anything, right? So we have to get a fairly large group of people. I don't know why I can't. Oh, there we go. A fairly large group of people to go along with a plan. And like, what exactly do we do? And then how do we slip it by the people who count the ballots that are not pro-Biden? Like, I'm trying to figure out how you actually pull that off, that type of mass scale fraud, because my feeling is, and this is anecdotal too, that if we were concerned about voter fraud, 2016 would be a better thing to look at because it was a closer election. Now, he only lost by like 3.5 million votes. And although he won the Electoral College, so he just probably less interested in investigating the election, understandably. But that would be the one you'd really want to apply yourself to, and nobody seemed to care.
Agreed.
And so do you ever feel like, okay, let me ask you this. Do you feel like Trump tells you the truth?
I think Trump is a little less of a politician.
Yeah, true.
More of a businessman. to where
Who's more crooked, a businessman or a politician? They're runners up.
I would say from the businessman standpoint, I would say Trump is a little more transparent in the fact that, you know, at least from my standpoint, I would be able to pick out the BS portion of it, to where he's more of a say what he's thinking type, and
Right.
not a double speak, not, oh, I loved the way you
Right.
look, and then,
But he's not that filtered. And so, like, he feels
right,
more emotionally true, right?
right,
Right. He's not like manufacturing emotion as much as other politicians do. Like, Hillary Clinton was the opposite. Like, you weren't sure if there was a soul inside there. And then she clearly was like, oh, is it okay to laugh? I'm going to have a laugh study group and see if it's okay if I should laugh. I get it. Trump is from the gut. He says things, and that emotional truth feels refreshing.
right.
I totally get it.
A little bit more
But
relatable and
yes.
And I agree with his politics.
Okay.
I agree that the borders should be, I guess, all the illegal immigrants.
Right.
They are
Well,
illegal.
I
They
don't
are
disagree
not
with
legal.
you. Look, I don't disagree with you. And I think this is where the Democrats really screw up. The Democrats look, everybody, I think, knows what the answer to immigration is. You have to strengthen the border. Then you have to give amnesty to the people that are in here, because there's no way you're going to get them out. Because good luck with that one. That's never going to happen. And if you did, it would cost hundreds of billions of dollars to even operate on that system.
I say just don't give them all of the benefits, all of the handouts and the aid, and if they're here,
as
they
a
need to
percentage,
work
they
their
take
living.
less than we do. But here's my argument: if you legalize them, they're paying taxes.
They're paying
Now
taxes
they are
right now.
paying their fair share, right?
They're paying taxes right now. You know how they're paying taxes? Because I worked in a Mexican restaurant that had illegals that worked there.
Okay.
The cook, I called him Joe.
Yeah.
Because that was his name, his
It's a
driver's
beautiful
license.
name. He must be a great guy.
Sorry.
Damn good cook too.
His
I
driver's
think he
license
might be Jose,
said Juan.
if I'm not mistaken. What's
Could be.
that?
So you called him one name, his driver's license said something else.
Okay.
Because he used the social security number and the ID of somebody else in order to then look like he has an illegal job. So he committed identity theft to get a job,
Okay.
to pay taxes and look legitimate.
Okay.
So when they say all of these illegals are paying taxes, they might be paying taxes, but they're paying it under somebody else's social security number.
Interesting.
So then that
I see.
social
My
security number
understanding
doesn't file
is
a tax every year.
I don't want to speak about things I don't totally know about. A lot of times that doesn't hold me back. But my experience, and I live in Southern California where we have a lot of illegal immigrants, is they tend to get paid in cash up front, and they're responsible for the taxes. Those taxes generally don't get paid. From my understanding of reading about the economic impact of legal immigration, is that it's a net economic plus, because the amount of cheap labor we're actually getting is fairly remarkable. And for example, in California, we could not run the agricultural business without it. Restaurants, everything else. And the argument is that if you legalize them, they're paying taxes, and suddenly you offset those so-called costs, if there are costs, and they're taking advantage of the system.
But if you legalize it, you're going to have to pay them more, because then they're going to want the same
well,
wages
and so then,
of everybody else.
This is very interesting, because some of the biggest proponents of having illegal immigration are Republican businessmen who have businesses, mid-sized businesses or small businesses, that know they need to operate with illegal labor. And so if you start tightening the wrench and cutting off of their supply of cheap labor, that's really not good for them. So I think everybody wants their cake and wants to eat it too, and you just can't do that. And as far as it's interesting. Trump tries to make this whole criminal thing about illegal immigrants being dangerous, and yet there's no statistical evidence of that. In fact, they have a lower crime rate than the average American population. So I just don't understand that. And so I feel like you're right. We should tighten the border. You're absolutely right. Democrats are wrong if they think otherwise. But I will tell you one thing. A small percentage of people come through the border. Most people fly in. What are you going to do? So they just fly right over that wall. So let's assume you tighten the border, you still have a problem. Okay. I don't think we're that far off in terms of us understanding the illegal immigration issue, but it's been polarized on both sides. And, I think it's unfortunate because we actually have a lot more common ground. I think Democrats and Republicans have a lot more common ground on the immigration issue than they want to think they do. But I'd like to go into one more thing. A lot of people want to say Trump supporters are racist, and I really disagree with that. I think the Trump supporters I know are not racist. But all racists are Trump supporters. Do you understand the difference?
I understand the difference. I would possibly tend to disagree.
Okay. Now, in what way?
I have a friend that is a diehard Biden supporter.
Yeah.
I would say in regards to, and I don't know necessarily I would say that she would be racist, but just in regards to things that she says.
Okay.
Referring to certain things that are negatively, I don't know how to say, that would be considered
wait, is she white
racist.
Or is she black or is she?
She's white.
Is she? Okay, she's white, and you feel like she's actually racist, but she's a Trump supporter. I mean, a Biden supporter.
And I wouldn't necessarily I would somewhat call her, I don't know if I necessarily call her racist, but what she says would be considered racist. So thereby,
okay,
it's
but
the same way
for
that,
example, if I were in the company of a group of people that we were on the same side and supporting the same candidate, and that group of people were chanting, "Jews will not replace us," or they're part of a white supremacist group, I would feel uncomfortable because I'm like, I need to distinguish that I'm not part of that. But when you support somebody, you don't get that choice. You take the whole McTrump sandwich, kind of, so to speak. And do you ever feel like torn up inside that you're like in the company of people that you may not really like or even want in your house? Those type of people, like.
I don't think there's anybody that I wouldn't consider, that I wouldn't want them in my house. No.
Even like the Proud Boys and stuff?
Oh, I don't know enough about them, but I would say I probably would not want white supremacists and KKK members in my house.
Well, okay, but they're voting for Trump. We know that pretty uniformly.
And what happens if those same people were voting for Biden? Does that make Biden racist?
I think if he doesn't disown him, absolutely.
And how many times has Trump disowned and said he disowns the Proud Boys?
Nah, he doesn't.
Know.
And that's the problem. And he's such a calculator. He knows. He's like, you know what? I have to. He can't. He's like, I can't afford to lose that vote. I can't afford to. I mean, he's already losing elections by huge. He's losing elections by millions of votes. Even in the first election, he won the vote but lost by 3.5 million votes. He knows that he cannot lose votes. So if he disenfranchises a group of angry white racists, that diminishes his base. He says, I can't do that. So he's
but just
kind of
because he
stuck in this.
doesn't disavow them or speak against them doesn't mean he's for them.
Well,
if he wants, it's the politics of wanting their vote. So he says, I guess what you're saying is
Well,
he doesn't disavow them.
I know
He's
what
not
you're
going to
saying,
isolate them.
but I think that I know what you're saying, that he could, because I actually don't think Trump is a racist, weirdly enough.
Right.
I actually think he's just a calculator, and he'll look at any situation and he'll exploit it. And that's all he cares about. And so, like, if you're rich and famous and you're black, well, you could be his friend. But if you're not, you can't be his friend. And then he
Plus,
has his
it's
stereotypes about you. But
no different than Biden not disavowing Antifa and all of the riots that are going on. I've never heard him come out and condemn all of the riots that happened in
no,
Minnesota.
He has. And actually, it's a really interesting thing. And I watch him have to kind of balance this one, which is he's dealing with the far left of his party that's talking about defund the police. This is why I think they lost members in Congress, is because they had to drag this whole defund the police group with them, which is just, it's just not framed right. They have to change the name of that thing, like reform the police. That's fine. You don't defund the police. It's ridiculous. And so I actually have seen him denounce this stuff. But do you know what the greatest single domestic terrorist threat in the United States is?
No.
It's white supremacy. And that's what the FBI and all law enforcement will tell you. That's where the resources have had to go into for the last 15 to 20 years. It's white supremacy. And they're the ones responsible for the most crime and the most murder and the most mayhem. And Antifa is this kind of loosely organized group of stoner slacker kids that when they get off their couch, they want to go break a window. You know, they're so inept, they can't even form a group. You know what I mean? So Antifa is kind of a joke. It's like this little thing you talk about, but they don't know really. I think there's one guy in the entire history of Antifa that associates himself with Antifa that shot somebody. And that was just recently. And they caught the guy, ran into the woods. But I don't think it's a false equivalence between KKK and all that stuff. So are you going to accept the results of the election?
I'll say Biden's not my president.
Fair enough. A lot of liberals said the same thing about Trump. But are you going to accept the results of the election? Meaning, so I didn't like Trump, but he was the legitimate president. I mean, I had to go with that one. I mean, I can't sit there and say that it wasn't a legitimate election. What about you?
He'll be president. That's all I can say.
Okay.
4 years of it.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough. If Trump ran in 2024, would you vote for him?
Depends on whether or not he had I would opt to see a different Republican candidate.
Ah, interesting.
When he originally ran in 2016, before I ever heard anything about him, before he ever became the candidate, when I heard Trump was running, I'm like, there's no way in hell I would ever vote for that man. I hated him on The Apprentice. I cannot stand him. But then I started listening to some of his speeches and some of what he stood for. And I chose more of what his platform was than the actual person.
Let me tell you the problem I have with Trump is I can really disagree with somebody and hate the politics of somebody and say they're the pilot flying my plane. If they can fly my plane, they can fly my plane, I guess. You know, at the end of the day, I'm like, well, they know what they're doing. I think Trump is sort of the pilot that doesn't know how to fly, or like the basketball player that drops the ball at the buzzer, and like you know, he's the athlete that can't pull it off, and I find him to be so incompetent at the most basic tasks of government that I would have been willing to overlook a lot of these things had he been able to deliver basic fundamental competence on issues. basic fundamental knowledge about history. And then he says things, and I don't think there's a definite correlation between his incompetence and lack of knowledge and the fact that we have one of the highest death rates in the world. We only make up 4% of the population. We make up over 20% of the deaths. That's weird for the richest, most powerful country in the world. That doesn't make sense. That just does not make sense. So that is his inability or unwillingness to tackle an issue that is clearly a national threat. And I'm saying to myself, this is total ineptitude. And I don't understand why he just didn't use it in his benefit. He could have. He could have just said, you know what? This is my way of showing how good I am at governing. I'm going to show them I can tackle a crisis.
Right.
He just decided not to.
But I also live in the state of Michigan that has Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
Yeah.
And all of our lockdowns where I am watching businesses go under and
it's all over the country.
Seeing everything, but the numbers are keep rising.
It's all over the country.
It's all over the country, right? But you have certain states that are locked down, and you have certain states that aren't locked down, like Indiana.
But does it make
right
you
across
uncomfortable?
the border.
Let's assume you disagreed with Governor Whitmer. You're also indirectly supporting the people that were trying to kidnap and kill her.
No.
Well, yeah, you are, because you're saying that you're supporting the politician who inspired these guys and who never denounced these guys and who said, liberate Michigan. He said, liberate Michigan. Now, some people hear that as the dog whistle. I'm getting my gun. I'm going there. I'm kidnapping the governor. Now,
and I have heard many of people being that they own guns and ammo. And
okay.
I have heard that I had somebody telling me just the other day that if you need a safe place to bunker down,
go to Governor Whitmer's.
No, they have supplies that potential war is coming.
You don't you find that disturbing though?
I do.
I don't think you get that on the other side as much.
I would say
as
whether
much.
it be the Michigan militia or what it might be.
But statistically and demographically, you're associated with them because politically you're supporting the same candidates and the same policies that they're supposedly fighting other Americans about. Does that make you uncomfortable?
I think the whole left and right, Democrat and Republican, I think there's just been so much of a divide in the last couple of years that it's coming back to a civil war.
But why?
I cannot tell you that. Whether it be the media, I mean, you have all of the censorship. I have people that post on Facebook said, I'm in Facebook jail again because I posted something on Facebook. And, you know, people posting on Twitter that Twitter not allowing me to post that, or they're blocking what I'm trying to say. So you have all of that censorship going on. So whatever happened to free speech? Why can I not say the sky's red when it's blue?
Well, Donald Trump does, and he seems to get away with it. So, I mean, I don't understand. I don't feel like we're in a form of censorship. I feel like, and this, I have a big argument with the left about this. I always say that the more politically correct the left is, the more powerful Donald Trump is. Because what he does is he works in this little area that, you know, people speak in these normal terms. They don't speak in these super engineered LGBTQ plus stuff. That's just not the normal jargon for people. And so they're like, who are these people? Who are these people on the news that are lecturing to me with all these terms and isms? I get it. But Trump goes on the other end and he says whatever the hell he wants. I mean, that's part of the attraction to him. So how could you feel if your guy has been in office for 4 years saying whatever the hell he wants? How could you feel like you're being oppressed of your opinion?
I'm not sure.
What's that? Say
I'm
that
not
again?
sure. I spaced out for a sec. Sorry.
It's okay. And I'm going to let you go because it's we've run down the pole. But I want to say that, first of all, thanks for coming on and having this conversation. And I do believe that we have an obligation, that when we start looking at our foreign adversaries as when we start looking at it as our domestic political opponents as greater threats than foreign adversaries like Russia, we're
And
in a
China.
civil war. We are in a civil war. I mean, that's a civil war. That's the definition of a civil war. You go back to the Civil War and you looked at the North and the South and how they were appealing to foreign countries to get involved in the Civil War. Okay, that is not right. We're in this together. The Democrats and Republicans don't have as big of a difference as we think they do. And I just feel like when you're in a position of power, you have a responsibility to not try to divide people, to try to bring out the best in people, to try to make them tolerate things. And you're listen, I want to say this gently, but you are supporting a guy that is purposely agitating everybody's fear and anxiety to the maximum amount so they will never, ever get along with the other side. Because once that happens, he loses power. Just remember, his power is not in ideas. His power is in your loyalty to him. And that's why he keeps firing people all the time. And I personally, and forgive me because I'm talking more than you and I shouldn't be, but I think when all of this is done, it's not going to be seen as a big political movement. You know what it's going to be studied as? It's going to be studied as a cult. Because political movements have a set of principles and ideas, and you can replace the leader and put a new person in, and it keeps functioning through time and history. Okay? Cults do not. The leader is everything. The leader is all. And once that leader is gone, everything falls apart. This is a cult movement. And our loyalty can never be to a person, it's to ideas. And he made it dangerous for anybody to work for him that loyalty was to the Constitution instead of to him. So those are my 2 cents. We have a safe word. It's called beer.
I'll take that.
And I just appreciate that you came on and you were willing to talk about it. And, you know, I urge you to look deeper into some things, and I'll look deeper into the things you said, and we'll figure out what this is. But I think that we have more
Find me a better candidate, and I'll vote for him.
I found you a better one than Hillary. Okay, we can agree on that.
No.
I don't have control. I've never had a candidate I'm 100% behind, ever. So it's never like that. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much.
All right, Guinness. So
stay warm. Stay warm. Oh, there you go. Good move. All is forgiven. All right. I appreciate
Okay.
it. I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks.
Oh, that was an interesting conversation. Okay. You guys, beer. Everybody knows it was beer. I should have said beer a long time ago. It's hard to stop these conversations sometimes, isn't it? It's like you get in a little bit of a rabbit hole. Anyways, thanks for joining me. I got to get off. I don't know how long I've been on, but I've been on way too long. I'll talk to you guys soon.